Let's talk about what a normal life actually costs in 2026. Not a lavish life, not a luxury life, a normal one. A modest house in a mid-sized city, one or two cars, groceries for a family, health insurance, a kid or two in school, maybe a vacation once a year, a retirement account you're actually contributing to, an emergency fund that isn't a joke. Normal. Nothing extravagant, nothing flashy. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the actual cost of a normal life in 2026, line by line, number by number, and show you exactly what income you need to support it. We're going to look at why the goalposts moved so dramatically and so fast, who is actually keeping up and how, and the specific financial adjustments that people making it work are using right now. Let's get into the numbers. Number 1. What does a normal life actually cost in 2026? Let's build this out from the ground up. We're going to price out a genuinely modest, middle-class life in a mid-cost American city. Not San Francisco, not Manhattan, but somewhere real. Think Columbus, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee, Kansas City. The median home price in a mid-cost U.S. city in 2026 sits around $350,000 to $400,000. At a 7% mortgage rate with 10% down, your monthly payment lands around $2,400 to $2,700 per month. Add property taxes and homeowners insurance, and you're looking at $3,000 to $3,200 per month just to own a modest home. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment in a mid-sized city is running around $1,800 to $2,200 per month. That's before utilities. A reliable used car financed in 2026 runs around $500 to $600 per month per vehicle. A household with two cars, which is most American households, is looking at $1,000 to $1,200 monthly just in car payments alone. Add insurance at $200 to $300 per car, and you're at $1,400 to $1,800 per month in transportation. The USDA's moderate cost food plan for a family of 4 in 2026 runs approximately $1,200 to $1,400 per month. That's cooking at home. That's not eating out regularly. That's just feeding your family. If you have employer-sponsored coverage, you're still paying your portion of the premium, averaging $500 to $700 per month for a family after your employer's contribution. Add out-of-pocket costs, dental, vision, and the occasional urgent care visit, and budget $700 to $900 per month for healthcare. If you have one child under 5 in full-time daycare, the national average in 2026 runs $1,500 to $2,000 per month. In higher-cost areas, it exceeds $2,500. Electric, gas, water, internet, and 2 cell phone plans will run you $400 to $600 per month in a mid-sized city. If you're putting a responsible 10% of gross income into retirement and building a 3-month emergency fund, we'll come back to what income that requires. Now let's add it all up for a family of 4 owning a modest home with 2 kids, 1 in daycare. Housing, $3,100. Transportation, $1,600. Groceries, $1,300, healthcare, $800, childcare, $1,700, utilities and phone, $500, retirement savings at 10%, back calculated. Total before savings, $9,000 per month in expenses just to maintain a genuinely modest, normal, nothing fancy life. Add 10% retirement savings on top of that, and you need gross income of roughly $140,000 to $150,000 to actually live this life and save for the future, after taxes. In pre-tax terms, you're looking at needing a household income of $180,000 to $200,000 to genuinely afford a normal life in 2026. Let that land for a second. The median household income in the United States in 2026 is approximately $80,000. That's less than half. If this math is already shifting how you're thinking about your financial situation, subscribe to the channel right now. Seriously, hit that button. Every week, we break down the economic realities that affect your money and your future, and we give you the tools to navigate them. Most people find this content within the first few weeks of someone they trust sharing it. Be that person. Number 2, why did the goalposts move so fast?
This didn't happen overnight, but it happened faster than most people could adjust to. Three forces hit simultaneously and compounded on each other. Inflation didn't just affect groceries. Between 2020 and 2025, cumulative inflation across housing, food, insurance, and services exceeded 30% in most categories. Wages grew, but not at the same pace. The purchasing power of a $75,000 salary in 2020 is dramatically lower in 2026. The number on your paycheck might be higher, but the life it buys is smaller. Interest rates changed the cost of every major purchase. A mortgage at 3% in 2021 and a mortgage at 7% in 2026 on the same $350,000 house results in a monthly payment difference of nearly $800. Cars, credit cards, student loans, everything financed got dramatically more expensive without the price tag changing. People with fixed-rate debt from 2020 and 2021 are living in a different financial reality than people who took on the same debt in 2024 or 2025.
Housing, healthcare, childcare, and education, the things you can't easily cut, went up faster than discretionary spending. So the squeeze hit hardest in the places where you have the least flexibility. You can stop going to restaurants. You cannot stop paying your mortgage or your health insurance premium. Number 3. Who is actually making it work, and how? Here's where it gets interesting. Because people are making it work. Not easily, not without trade-offs, but there are households at $80,000, $100,000, even $120,000 who are building stable, decent lives in 2026. And they're doing it with a set of very specific strategies. The biggest lever available to most households right now is location. The difference between the cost of a normal life in Nashville and the cost of a normal life in Austin or Denver or Seattle is tens of thousands of dollars per year. Remote work made location more flexible for more people than at any point in modern history. The households making it work at lower incomes are often the ones who consciously chose a lower-cost geography or are seriously considering it. Most households aren't running the complete version of the normal life simultaneously. They're sequencing it. One car instead of two, renting while building savings, delaying a second child until childcare for the first becomes less expensive. They're not abandoning the life, they're phasing into it deliberately, rather than trying to run all the costs at once. The households doing best in 2026 at moderate income levels are almost universally dual-income households that resisted the urge to inflate their lifestyle when the second income arrived. Instead of upgrading everything when the second paycheck came in, they kept expenses flat and built the gap between income and spending that actually generates wealth over time. The family that locked in a 3% mortgage in 2021 is paying $700 to $900 less per month than the family buying the same house today. That's a built-in financial advantage that compounds over years. If you're not subscribed yet, do it now. This is exactly the kind of analysis we put out every single week. No noise, no fluff, just the numbers and the strategies that actually matter for where you are financially right now. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. If you looked at that $180,000 to $200,000 number and felt something, whether that's frustration, relief that you're already there, or urgency, that feeling is useful. Here's how to channel it. Run your actual number, not the national average, your number. What does your version of a normal life cost? Build the actual monthly budget. Include retirement contributions as a non-negotiable line item. Add an emergency fund contribution. Then look at what income that requires after taxes, and then gross it up. The gap between where you are and where you need to be is your target, and you can't hit a target you can't see. Identify your highest leverage move. For most households, the single biggest lever is income, not expense cutting. There is a floor to how much you can cut. There is no ceiling on how much you can earn. If your gap is large, your primary focus should be on income growth, negotiating your current salary, positioning for promotion, adding a skill that commands higher pay, or building an income stream outside your employer. Protect what you have. If you have fixed-rate debt at a low rate, protect it. Don't refinance it. Don't sell the house and start over in the current rate environment unless you have a compelling reason.
If you have equity built up, understand that it is an asset. If you have a pension or defined benefit plan, understand its actual value before making job moves. Stop measuring yourself against a life you can't price. Social media in 2026 is full of people performing a life that either isn't as stable as it looks or is funded by income levels they're not disclosing. The comparison is not just unhelpful, it is actively misleading. Measure your progress against your own goals, your own gap, your own trajectory. That's the only measurement that matters. The math is hard. It is harder than it was 5 years ago, harder than most people were told it would be, and harder than the salary advice most people received when they were starting out. But hard math isn't hopeless math. It's just honest math. The households that are navigating 2026 successfully are not doing it by pretending the numbers are different than they are. They're doing it by seeing the numbers clearly, making strategic decisions, and building the gap between income and spending one move at a time. You don't need a $200,000 income to start. You need a clear picture of where you are, where the gap is, and what your next move is. That clarity is worth more than any single raise, any single investment, any single financial decision. Start there. Subscribe to this channel if you want to keep building that clarity every single week. We break down the economic realities, the money psychology, and the practical strategies that actually move the needle for real people at real income levels. The subscribe button is free. The knowledge compounds. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.